From plaintiffs having no respect for the judge, to teens bringing their attitudes into the courtroom, these are Judge Judy cases that'll make you cringe. If you're a true Judge Judy fan, then you know she has zero tolerance for interruptions. It's basically the fastest way to get into trouble, and maybe even kicked out of the courtroom. But nothing gets under her skin, like a plaintiff or defendant, with a serious lack of manners. And don't even get me started on interrupting her once she's already told you off, because that's a surefire way to lose your case. A woman named Kim Knoller knows this all too well. Kim owned a motorcycle rental store and filed a case against a person who rented a motorcycle for 3 days, but then backed out. Kim kept the rental fee, but wanted extra money for transaction charges. I mean, nothing too out of the ordinary, right? But here's where it gets wild. Kim was entitled and rude in court, and she had zero respect for the judge. I'm not even kidding. She wouldn't stop shouting over Judy, even after being warned multiple times.
Miss Knoller, I'm talking, you're not.
I understand.
I'm talking, you're not.
Seeing her act like that made me cringe. And get this, she ended up dropping the case she came in with and sued for some NSF charges instead. But you know Judge Judy, she's not one to hold back. And she straight up told Kim, "I'm not giving you a quarter."
I'm not giving you a quarter. I think that you're a very bad businesswoman.
How embarrassing. Unfortunately, there's no end to the cringy things people will do, and this next one teeters on psychotic. Okay, so you know that feeling when you're watching an unbelievable case and you have that moment when you're like, there's no way that happened, and it turns out that you're right? Well, here's a perfect example of that. Plaintiff Kate Levitt was seeking compensation for her cat's tragic death, claiming that her partner started this huge fight and even smashed a TV. That wasn't even the worst part, though. Kate said the TV set fell on her cat and killed it.
And as he was breaking one of the televisions, it fell on your cat and killed it.
Yes. Yes.
Man, that sounds horrible. But guess what? None of it actually happened. No fight, no smashed TV, and definitely no dead cat. Kate made it all up just to score some money and a free trip to Los Angeles. It was pure fiction. Who does that? Usually when someone comes up with a fake case, they at least try to make it sound convincing, right? Well, Kate must have missed that memo because she barely thought about her story. It had so many plot holes, and the timeline made absolutely no sense. On top of that, her partner was useless in making the case sound legit, and the whole thing fell apart after a few minutes of questioning, which was really awkward. And of course, Judge Judy couldn't resist the opportunity to call Kate a dumb girl.
That's easy. Judging for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,000.
Man, I'd never want to be on the receiving end of her disses. I'd die of shame. But some people are shameless, and they don't have that problem. Everyone knows the first rule of working in the service industry is being patient. And the second is that the customer's always right. But in this situation, nobody's right. When it comes to creating unnecessary problems, the plaintiff in this case takes the cake. I mean, seriously? Who would have thought that a missing salad dressing could end up in court? It's the kind of thing that can be fixed with a simple apology and a complimentary meal. So here's what went down. The plaintiff filed a lawsuit because he didn't get the extra dressing he ordered, and then he wanted a full refund for the dressing, but the restaurant refused to pay up. So what did our smart plaintiff do? Well, because they didn't give him a refund, he ordered another meal, snatched the food from the delivery man, and slammed the car door shut. But wait a second, because this plot thickens like Caesar dressing. The staff at the restaurant stooped even lower and vandalized the plaintiff's car and home. Why would they take revenge over a meal? I swear everyone in that courtroom must have been wondering how a simple mistake at a restaurant could turn into a whole court drama. So what was Judge Judy's verdict? The plaintiff won the case, but she didn't let him off scot-free. He was awarded $223, minus $12 for the meal he stole, and I don't know about the salad dressing, but justice was served.
$229.23 less 12. $217.23.
Not all cases are so clear-cut, though, and I've got to tell you about a case that even Judy thought was over the top. The plaintiff in this case filed a lawsuit against her neighbor, claiming that she was assaulted with Tupperware. It sounds more like a sitcom than a courtroom drama, and I'm not the only one who thinks so, because Judge Judy needed clarification to understand the whole situation. Get ready for this one because it gets really theatrical. The plaintiff gave a live demonstration of exactly what went down, complete with exaggerated voice acting and all. She went all out. I'm talking actions, sounds, facial expressions, the whole bit. But luckily, the court and anyone with common sense could see past the plaintiff's poor acting skills, and some people in the crowd couldn't contain their laughter.
You know, and she threw her blankets off and she ran to the door and slammed it open. She said, "I ate it!" And she stormed into the kitchen.
Judge Judy, on the other hand, was counting down the seconds until this dramatic case would be over. She called the plaintiff unstable, but surprisingly ruled in her favor, awarding her $192 for her broken Tupperware. You just never know what kind of dramatic performances you'll see in the courtroom, and even though the sad acting skills in this case made me want to cover my face in disbelief, it's nothing compared to this next one. There's nobody quite like family that'll drive you insane. And I don't know if I wanted to laugh or cry at this one. This time around, the plaintiff sued her own sister because she took her car out, crashed it, and killed a deer. Sure, that sounds bad. But unfortunately, it gets even worse. The defendant had the audacity to claim that she did nothing wrong because it wasn't the first time she took her sister's car. It was the first time she crashed it, though. And I guess the numbers weren't adding up for her. But here's where things take a mind-boggling turn. When Judge Judy asked what happened to the deer after the crash, the defendant said she ate it and even offered some to the plaintiff.
What'd you do with it? Ate it?
Yeah, you heard that right. She killed a deer in a car crash, ate it, and thought it would make a great peace offering to her sister. I mean, the cringe is next level on this one. The worst part, though, was how unfazed she looked the entire time. She clearly didn't give a damn and couldn't understand why everyone was making such a big deal about it. But I'm sure that hefty $4,000 in damages made things a whole lot clearer for her. If I was Judy, I'd just walk out of cases like these. I don't know how she deals with this sort of nonsense day in and day out. Plus, she ends up having to give lectures to people. But sometimes there's no other option, especially when she's dealing with foul-mouthed teenagers. In this case, the plaintiff Sierra sued Michaela for keying her car. The plaintiff moved to her friend's house, where a lot of deadbeats were already living. And Judy sympathized with Sierra because she comes from a dysfunctional family, but she didn't give Michaela a break for housing all these lost boys. Anyway, when the two had a falling out, Michaela keyed Sierra's car. The worst part is that Michaela's running her mouth in front of Judy, which was extremely embarrassing, and then we find out that she keyed Sierra's car because she deserved it. Michaela had a lot of nerve being so disrespectful in court, so Judy ends up giving her a lecture on life. But it went in one ear and out the other, and she continued with her smart-ass replies. But you know Judy, and if anyone's equipped to handle that kind of stuff, it's her. She slaps Michaela with a $684 fine and tells her she's throwing her future down the toilet.
You're taking it and throwing it down the toilet. $684. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Talk about a double whammy. So there you have it. From teens bringing their attitudes into the courtroom to plaintiffs having no respect for the judge, those were Judge Judy cases that'll make you cringe.